My grandpa told this a while back. He lives in rural Quebec, outside of Saguenay. Not exactly the middle of nowhere, but definitely not in town. Be my grandpa. Lets dogs outside by themselves to do their business and play. They're Great Pyrenees, which can get to be fucking huge, and they're well trained so they can handle themselves. After a little bit he hears one of them growling at something. He goes outside to see what's up, and his dogs are staring directly at the tree line and growling. He scans the tree line once and sees nothing, but on the second pass he sees something in the treetops shift. Not at the ground. The fucking treetops. Immediately notices this thing hanging onto one of the trees, sort of half camouflaged with brown-gray skin or fur or something. He said he thought it might have been feathers. Compared it to a giant owl person, mostly because it had enormous eyes. He goes WTF and the dogs start freaking out and barking at it. He watches this thing shimmy maybe halfway down the trees, then turn and leap to the next tree. Like a fucking cricket does, and it just keeps jumping away into the forest. Grandpa grabs the dogs and runs back inside. Stays up late watching the trees behind the house with his gun. Fast forward to September this year. Be me, staying at Grandpa's place because my brothers don't really stay in touch with him and I thought he'd like the company. Sun has just set. Grandpa's an old man now, so he calls it a night early. Only one of the dogs is alive and it usually sleeps in his room. The guest bedroom that I'm in's window faces the trees. I have it open because I like autumn air. Suddenly hear the trees shaking, think it's just the wind. Realize it's one by one. Realize it's rhythmic. Look out and realize one tree shakes and then another. Remember his story about Grasshopper-Owl-Man. MFW.
This is my personal experience of a skinwalker. At that time I had no clue this thing even existed. Today I can better iterate what happened. I hope you all enjoy. Be 14 years old, and on camping trip up north with school. Camp counselor devises game. To win game, you and your team read a map, follow its directions, and at the end you receive a prize. Get a sick-ass group of 3 of friends, Jason, Boris, and Lee. Lee takes map and refuses to let anyone else read it. Super annoyed.jpg. We decide fuck it, and follow Lee. He takes us on a walk down a road out of the camp area. Walk for an hour, and we are not there yet, but Lee says we're almost there. Pass bear warning signs, and other unnerving shit, so many roads. Getting tired of Lee's shit, but he refuses to hand map over, and keeps saying yo mama in response. Lee turns off of the roads and takes us up a path on a hill. Path is sinuous, and long, not well trodden, wet even, so things look amiss. Been searching for 3 hours at this point, and pretty sure Lee is retarded. I hold Lee down and Jason seizes the map. Jason analyzes map and realizes nothing we've passed looks familiar. TFW, Lee can't read a map. TFW, we're lost in bear territory. Jason says, we backtrack until we reach the camp, then we crucify Lee. Starting to get somewhat late, been gone for 4 or so hours. Sun is approaching horizon slowly, sky takes on a slightly dim shade, around 6 to 7 p.m. We walk in silence, annoyed, following Jason. Focus on the rustling of our feet on the grass and stranglingly. Hear loud crack from behind us, as if a large branch had been snapped. Everyone think bear presence level high. Continue walking, hear other branches cracking off in the distance. Everyone relaxes and shrugs it off as nothing. Air feels moist, and dirty, from the smell of wet dirt from the path. Continue walking until we reach a crossway and go to turn onto the path from where we came. Jason turns onto path and stops. I walk beside Jason. Fountain in pants commenced.jpg. Tall pale creature stands slightly off to the side of path. Black eyes stare us down, jaw lowers as if dislocated. Lee pushes me forward not knowing why we have stopped. Creature turns into the bramble and out of sight. Nowhere to go but forward, other path leads to? After 5 minutes of me and Jason consulting the gods, Lee and Boris walk ahead in disbelief saying we are tards. We chase after them in fear, only chance of survival is to fight as a group if attacked. Continue on path, it is well near 8, and we have a way trek to go. Hairs on my skin stand. Forest is silent. Lee and Boris make jokes. Start hearing snapping sounds from the depths again. Low incoherent speech begins, speech is broken, lacks structure. Boris shushes Lee, and looks at Jason and I. Silence.jpg. We move faster now. We finally reach the hill, and are back onto the road. Boris and Lee get cocky, and shrug off their fear. Lee starts yelling about how it's nothing. Looking back at the path, he sees a figure at its center. Moving down, from the path, onto the road, towards us. We sprint until we are exhausted. Slow down, and begin to walk at a stable pace. Incoherent speaking begins, gargling more than anything, hold on there, wait there. Creature appeared from time to time, on the path, then in the brambles, always following us. We reach the camp, late, around 9 p.m., with little light still to spare. We made a final sprint once the camp was in sight. They had been searching for us the whole while in the camp. We don't know where it went. The camp was not fenced in. But we felt safer with such a large group of people around us. My blood curdles to this day from that face, an emaciated long body. By far, the most terrifying element was the speech. Should have screen capped this when I posted it first. Not much, not really Innawoods, but you might like. Be us. Buddy, his GF and me. Let's call ourselves Joseph, Anna and Piotr. Yeah blah blah, they insisted I come there. We go in a abandoned rail yard. Huge place, pic related. Walk around, take pics. Suddenly creaking sound. Did you hear that? Yeah, what the hell? Look around, nothing. Late afternoon but we can't see crap. Meh.gif. Walk down the tracks, towards the back in pic related. Sometime later we find hole in the ground. Very much like in pic related, but that isn't the actual one, that's further down the platform. Concrete floor, square hole, like 2 feet square. Looks like maybe 5 or 6 feet deep, continues sideways. Joseph goes take a leak somewhere, I lay down to look in hole. Be on belly, tell Anna to push down on my legs so I can put head down the hole and see where it goes. Tunnel goes out further than my flashlight, which is quite strong. Piotr, come back up please. What is it? There's a guy, sounds scared. Creaking sound again. Oh. Extricate self from hole. Darkish skinned guy just gets off his bike. Be like hello. Joseph, what's around the corner? Asks what bike guy is doing. Bike guy is like, not understand much, Romanian. Asks for a smoke. We don't smoke cigarettes. Bike guy shrugs, drives off. What was he even doing there? We eat. Decide to drop into the hole, see what you can see. Take off backpacks. I am tallest so I go first. It's really like 5 feet 6 inches deep, half my head still pokes out. Help the other 2 down. We go and explore the tunnel. Weird steel doors and shit. Continue. At one point we crawl trough a hole in the wall. Pic is related, the very hole we crawled through. Also Anna's butt because why not? Must be like 200 meters down the tunnel now. Voices. Everyone freezes. It's coming from ahead. This is the actual place. Sneak forward, Joseph and I can't be cowards in front of Anna, no? Must be those stairs we couldn't get down earlier because debris. Voices moving past. Some people moving in the building above us. Should we shout hello? Realize we do not know what kind of people those are. Realize the only exit from this tunnel system is over 200 meters back. Realize there were wooden planks laying around near the entry/exit hole. Realize we can't get out if some funny guy puts said planks over said hole. Realize our backpacks are back there next to the hole. Oh shit.exe. N. Run back through the tunnels. Lift Joseph out of the hole. The hole is deep and Joseph and Anna are too short to get out by themselves. Are they there? No, can't see anything. Orly Joseph? It's like 11 p.m, of course you can't see shit. Lift Anna out of the hole. Lift self out of hole. Take cover bh some concrete pillar. Eyes on building entrance. No movement for 10 minutes or so. Light pipe. Get back into our kit, prepare for extraction. Move out no problem. People are vanish. Probably youths who got drunk and then chickened out. All that adrenaline gone to waste. Pick is the weird steel door and shit from 3 posts before. What is that even doing in an old rail yard?
Just happened. WTF. Be in a high desert area, California. Be at work. Am a polysomnographic tech. Watch fat people sleep, test for apnea, seizure, narcolepsy, etc. Just quit smoking. Using a vaporizer to get nicotine fix. Can puff on M inside so fuck going out in the cold. Used to going outside 1 time an hour, starting to get bored. Walk around lab to check my patient's cars, puffing on vape. Sitting next to door, notice movement by dumpster across parking lot. Probably a tweaker. Something shuffles out from behind dumpster, looks like a gargantuan chicken. Think nothing of it. Suburbs nearby have a million Mexicans with chickens and shit in backyards. LOL huge cock.jpg. Wait. Chickens don't have arms. Watch it reach an arm up to the top of a block wall, hoist itself up and perch at top. What? Nope. Tactically duck my ass inside. Just finished relocking door, something starts scrabbling at the outside like a dog trying to get in. Nope nope nope. Get in backpack for CC. Train on door, wait for scrabbling to stop. Typing live. Scrabbling stops, look through blinds. It's crawling up the wall and hops over into the field adjacent. The fuck was that? Call cops, have them send out cruiser. Tell the cop exactly what happened. Checks my CC license, takes a report and doesn't give me the least bit of shit. Ask why. Local PD has received 5 reports in as many hours of the same person/thing in the same area. Officer tells me keep an eye out and the door locked. Tell him I'm gonna be hip carrying the rest of the night and I don't give a fuck if it weirds out my patients. Says he can't blame me. Cop leaves, I lock up, hop on /k/ and here we are. Suffice to say it's been a weird goddamned night. Either that or there's some crazy fucking drugs going around out here. Fucking thing looked like Gollum with a rooster tail. Probably those two. That is why scariest Innawoods occurs around old Cold War things. They were messing around with things that no mortal should ever fuck around with. Nice quints. Quick update, BTW. I've been hearing shufflings around the parking lot in between cars since I posted the last 2. A patient called to be let up to use the pisser, walked out, looked at me looking all stressed and tired, saw my 1911 sitting open on the corner of my desk and gave me the best oh shit look I've ever seen. I explained that we'd had an attempted break-in and that I'm licensed to carry and he was okay with it. Posted this one in a/creepy thread ages ago. Story is from an ex-military guy I know from the pub. Pilot flying up in the Northern Territory. Radio into the airstrip, he knows the couple that run it. Says he'll be there in 4 hours, will radio when he's near the airstrip. Gets close to airstrip, radios the couple in. No reply. Circles and tries again, still no reply. Goes to airstrip in the next town over. Tells the lads working there the couple never picked up their radio. They call the police. Police come around to them, they all travel to the airstrip the couple own. Get there about 2 or 3 a.m. The lights in the house are off but the spotlights are on, somewhere shining off into the hill. They walk around the side of the house where the dogs are kept. 2 things they notice right away. The dogs are dead but there was no sign of physical harm on them, they all had looks of terror on their face, it appears they were literally scared to death. Second thing was the side of the house was riddled with bullet holes but they were fired from the inside out. They go into the house to find the couple dead on the ground with the man's AR-15 in his hand. They had a look of fear and shock on their faces, same as the dogs, and they were said to have died the same way as the dogs. Police radio it in. At dawn most the other police and paramedics get there, and so do some lads from the Air Force. They saw them talking to the police, then came over to the locals and told them to fuck off out of here and don't tell anyone what they saw or may have heard. The guy who told the lad from the pub I go to was in the United States Air Force and was involved with Project Blue Book and other UFO related business. He told him strange lights and other strange events had went down in the area the night of the incident.
Alrighty, here we go. This is the fucking scariest thing I've ever experienced. I'm out camping with some buddies up in North England. Fucking stereotypical, I know, but bear with me. There's about 4 of us: Mark, me, Lucas and James. We haven't really been camping before, in all honesty. Took us 3 hours to set up 3 tents because we have no fucking clue what to do. Our car is about a 20-minute walk down a dirt path, not really far but trees make it hard to see it really. This will be important later. James forgot to bring firewood, so we send him out with an axe to get some. He's pretty strong, goes to the gym pretty often. Mark goes with him. So they head off into the woods towards a clearing we spotted whilst walking about a while ago, searching for a good spot to set up. We didn't choose that spot as we had no trees to prevent rain from drenching the tents in fire. It rains like fuck in England. I'll continue if anyone's interested. So Mark and James are out collecting firewood. It's just me and Lucas chilling, drinking, etc. About an hour later Mark and James come back. They don't have the axe. I ask where James put it, as he was the one holding it when they walked away. He asks Mark the same thing. Mark asks him. Lucas points it out, it's leaning against a tree not 3 meters away. It looks weird, like a glitched texture in a game. Kind of blurred, if you get what I mean. Brush it off. Mark picks it up and it just looks normal, so I don't bring it up. Nothing really happens. We go to bed early due to lack of fire to sit around. We had all 4 tents set up by now. I wake up in the night for no reason. Literally fuck all, quiet ass all buggery. As if sounds have been muted. Honest to God, I couldn't hear myself clap or talk. I checked. Worried for my hearing, I go back to sleep, see if I'm okay in the morning. James wakes me up. The fuck were you clapping at, Anon? Oh, I temporarily lost my hearing. I'm not surprised. We were up until 4 around the campfire and you kept screaming and laughing at it. We didn't have a fire last night though. Yeah, we did. Fucking remains of a fire outside in the middle of the tents. It's kinda warm, recently put out. I'm actually scared at this point. I can't reason with the situation. No, oh, I was tired, bullshit. So I just sit down, try to process this all. Mark, James, and Lucas all talking. They notice me kind of sitting there. Mark asks what's up. We didn't have a fucking fire last night. What? There is no fire. I know. James chimes in here. There was a fire, you guys sat by it with me last night. Lucas also chimes in. No, we fucking didn't. All 3 of us do not remember a fire. James insists there was a fire. He gets kinda mad, and goes back into his tent. Me, Mark and Lucas leave him to chill. We head out to that clearing earlier. Lucas heads back to the car to get a pocket knife. He wants to do some carving and stuff. He likes sharpening sticks and shit. We watch him go down the path. We only see his head after a while because the trees block out his body. He ducks under a low branch. He doesn't come back up. We just go to the clearing, assuming he just kept low to not hit his head or some shit. We get there and Lucas is fucking there. He was 10 minutes away, we were 3 minutes from the clearing. How the fuck did you get here so fast? Anon, I've been walking with you since we left camp. We just watched you fucking leave to go to the car. No, you didn't. Mark speaks up in a kind of whisper. Anon, that's not Lucas, look. He kind of tilts his head towards the path to the car. Lucas is fucking by the car, we see his head inside it, he's looking for his pocket knife. Whatever is stood with us sees Lucas too. It throws its head back and opens his mouth. Emits this high-pitched sound, like a dog whistle, but for humans. Collapse due to its loudness. Vision going white as fuck. Sound won't stop. You got it, buddy. Wake up back at camp. Mark, Lucas, and James all there, around a fire. Mark asks if I'm okay. What the fuck was that thing? What was what? That thing that knocked us out. Anon, me and you walked out to the clearing and you passed out, I brought you back. At this point I require new pants because I've officially pissed myself. I'm at the brink of tears. This is messing with my head and I'm a bit of a pussy. Go into tent and sleep. Try at least. Just lay there for a while. Once again, trying to process this shit. Hours pass. Felt like minutes to me. Once again, all sound stops, even Mark, James and Lucas talking outside. Poke my head out of the tent. See them moving, as if talking, laughing, etc. Duck my head back in. Same high-pitched sound that thing in the clearing made, but not as loud. Doesn't hurt me this time. I'm shitting enough bricks to build a 4-bedroom house at this point. Lay down and let everything pass. Sound fades off, as if it was walking away. Regain hearing. Sounds like a tent being opened hurriedly. James is practically ripping my tent open. Anon, get the fuck up, we're leaving now. Stand up but kinda weakish, overwhelmed by all this shit, trying to rationalize. Mark and Lucas are combat sprinting to the fucking car. James has my arm around him and we're shuffling as fast as possible to the car. James, what the fuck is going on? Anon, shut the fuck up, it'll hear us. I'm on the verge of tears, like I said, I'm a pussy. We get to the car after around 17 minutes of shuffling. Mark and Lucas already in it, car's running. They motion for us to get in. I'm in the back seat with James at my side. Mark is driving, Lucas in the passenger seat. Mark fucking floors it along this dirt roadish kind of thing that leads to a highway, about 10 minutes from the campgrounds. Look out back window, out of paranoia and to reassure myself we're not being followed. I see this kind of amalgamation of us four. Its face made up of our faces. Ain't on anything, my dude, clean for life. This thing's face is our four faces kinda melted together. Vision goes white, like I just got flashbanged or some shit. Whatever this thing is, it didn't want to be seen in this state. High-pitched sound, causing agony. Got a massive headache from it. Anyway, Mark is fucking flooring it away from the site and we get to the highway. Every now and then my vision will blur like fuck. Think it's following us. High-pitched sound hasn't stopped, just not loud enough to hurt anymore. Hear it the whole ride home. Mark won't slow down. Empty as fuck highway, so he just speeds. I swear I see this thing following the car, by the tree lean at the side of the highway facing the car, kind of sliding across the floor, like if a video game character's walking animations broke, and stopped working. Every time I see it, high-pitched sound increases in volume until I look away and vision goes white after 2 seconds of staring. Eventually stop seeing it 3 miles from home. Never go back. Ever. Stop talking to James after that, lost contact with him. Mark doesn't talk much, when he does he stutters. Lucas is pretty chill. I'm still scared as fuck about this, it was about 2 years ago. I don't go outside much anymore so. Whole thing fucked us, mentally, but yeah, believe me or not, this happened, and my mental state ain't as stable as it used to be as a result. Fucking typing this is almost giving me a panic attack. That's all guys, hope you enjoyed my traumatic encounter. What does Lucas have to say about it all? And what really did happen when you passed out in the forest according to Lucas? Lucas doesn't talk about it, bring it up and he goes fucking mute. It's the only time I see him not chill. I guess he's trying to repress and forget that shit. I'm not sure, I like to think what I saw was real, even if it scares the shit out of me, at least I'm not insane. Camping guy here. Just got off a call with James, he finally talked about it and his story about the ride home was hell of a lot different to mine. Anyone interested? James' story is as follows. At the camp, around the time my hearing cut out, and after I ducked my head back into my tent. An hour passes. They see the thing I saw off in the woods. Sliding at Mach 9 towards a fox. grabs the fox and rips its chest open, eats the thing there and then, bones and all they go quiet. It spots them and slides off into the woods. He's fucking shaking at this point. They spot it again, 2 minutes later, staring and twitching like fuck. He swears they heard a low gurgling sound, like its throat was full of a thick liquid, like tar. It slides off again after letting out a loud screech that I didn't hear for some reason. He rips my tent open, grabs me. He carried me to the car, I was out cold. He's scared as shit. Trying to sprint but be quiet as fuck. Mark and Lucas way ahead. He looks back and this thing is at out camp, inside my fucking tent. Gets to the car. Throws me in and gets in beside me. I wake up after we get to the highway, scream, and pass out again. Repeat for an hour. Wake up, look at him, make a gurgling sound like that thing made and passed out again. This scared him enough to not want to talk to me for a long ass time. He thought it possessed me. Anyway, we get home, Mark drops him at his house and he stays there, getting family and friends to buy food for him and he pays them the money. Refused to leave his house. He was in therapy for a while. I call him a long ass time after this. Here we are. I'll try to contact Mark and Lucas, see if they'll talk too. Lucky to get a hold of him, truly, say what you like, but there's a reason humans have survived so long, it's called adrenaline and when you have a hell of a lot of it pumping through you, you can accomplish a lot of shit, friend. What according to him when you three went out into the forest and Mark I think told you that. That's not him. Then you passed out 3 sec later after hearing a scream. That's what fucking scares me, they remember different shit to me, that's what fucking shook me up so bad. What did the creature look like? Have you named it? Named it? No, I'll try to think of one now. But it had our 4 faces, kind of melted together into one head and it wore a dark red plaid shirt, slightly torn and black trousers. Mark wore the trousers, I wore the shirt. I kind of like Meltface, or Quadface. Maybe it would be a good idea to not name it, you never know who is listening.
About a decade and a half ago, early teens. At a summer camp with cousin in the middle of bumfuck nowhere Russia. Summer camp is on the edge of a lake, part of the camp involves instructors taking you out on a rowboat in pairs of 2 or 3 with minimal camping supplies and tossing you out at random points along the waterfront where you set up camp and stay alone for 2 to 3 days at a time. When the 2 to 3 days are up they come back for you by rowboat to pick you up. Paired up with cousin, we get dropped off at the very edge of a very overgrown woodsy area that continues into a swamp/marsh. So overgrown that it is difficult to move around in, and boat cannot get that close to the shore/continue along the water in that direction. We find a small clearing and set up camp. First night goes by okay. Second night comes, pitch black and we're sitting around a campfire at maybe 1 to 2 a.m., didn't have any way to tell the time so just guessing. Hear loud snapping/crackling of branches about 100 feet out into the swamp. Look up for a second, both shrug and assume it must be some wild animal or something since the noise stops pretty fast. All of a sudden, see 2 flashlights turn on in the direction we heard the noise from. Flashlights begin moving in our direction at about the pace of a person walking on normal ground, which would be impossible considering the combination of marsh/bushes/plant life there. Very clear bobbing and arcing of the lights that makes it clear whatever is moving the light is moving through this uninhibited. Stand up, start shouting out at the light asking who is there. No response, lights leave the marshy area and hits dry ground, which is still very overgrown and impossible to walk through, about 50 feet out and keeps going. We start freaking the fuck out and throwing rocks and twigs and whatever we could find at our feet into the woods. Can't see what's behind it since the light is pointing in our eyes. 20 to 30 feet out the lights cuts out completely. Nothing there or behind it. Stand in shock for a bit, don't know what to do. End up staying by the fireside all night looking in all direction periodically. Don't sleep that night or the next night, but the next days go by without any trouble. Get picked up eventually and go home. Sorry if I'm bad at typing shit out, never been that good with expressing myself. Still wonder what the fuck it could have been. I've talked with my cousin about it a few times since then and neither of us really came to a conclusion, so I'm interested in what people here think. To clarify, I joined the USMC when I was out of high school. This happened several years ago while I was on leave. Driving from California to New Mexico. Taking shortcut through Amboy. At the time a satanic hotspot. Be about 5 p.m. Take a pic of the city sign to prove I actually took I-40 to friends. Get back on the road, get to top of mountain. See some stuff in the middle of the road. Slow down, see a red Pontiac stopped sideways across both lanes. Open suitcase with scattered clothes. Man and woman face down in the road. Stop about 100 feet away. Hair on neck standing up. Immediately pull out my 9mm pistol from under my seat and chamber around. Way too perfect of an accident scene, like when civilians play dead in Iraq to lure soldiers into a suicide bomb radius. Admit I'm being paranoid, but can't bring myself to leave my vehicle. Scan the road, see a line I could drive. Pass the guy's left, swerve to the woman's right, go behind the Pontiac and I'm clear. Drop into first, gun it. Pass the Pontiac without hitting any bodies, roll forward a bit before slowing down so I can stop panicking. Look in my rear view mirror. The two bodies are on their knees. 20 or so people emerge from the tall grass on either side of the road. Slam my foot onto the gas and speed down I-40 until I got onto the next on-ramp, eat up a ton of gas and coolant, nearly destroyed my Mustang's engine. Stop taking shortcuts to get anywhere. I will never know what would have happened to me had I gotten out of the car to check on the bodies or stopped my car closer to them, and by God, I'm glad I never will.
Hey/X/Erase my story. I come from Germany, so I excuse for any further mistakes in my vocabulary. In the woods at night with a friend in airsoft guns with 10 gel. It's about 11 p.m. in the night and we're in the Black Forest in South Germany. Black Forest is famous for its darkness and huntings. Many legends, many spooky. On the way back home, still had to walk like 800 m to get out of the forest, walking with compass. Hearing boars far away. We walk very silently so we don't get attention of other hunters like wolves or boars, they can easily stomp you in the ground. We hear a loud boom, like a big tree fell down somewhere. Another one, it's coming closer. We stop and watch and listen. Birds fly away from our position. Another boom and cracking noises of tree branches. See something moving far away but can't make it out, too dark. We still look. Another boom, but it more sounded like a stomp of something far too big for this world. I get scared, friend is also scared. Let's go man, what the fuck? Another stomp, this time very close, we could feel it in the ground. We run like we're followed by angry hornets. Another stomp, it's following us. We run faster, it's about 500 m till the end of the forest. I look behind me and can't see shit. Stomp, 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 stomp. Look behind me again as we run across a small clearing. Holy shit, mytherwadisthese.jpg. It's about 5 to 7 m tall, long-legged, long-armed, looks like a fucking walking tree and follows us. Run, I scream for my life and we run. We ran out of the forest. Runned across the hayfield, after 2 minutes we stopped. We couldn't hear anything anymore. It was death silence. We talked about that afterwards, but we never had an idea what that was. What was it /b/? A pissed of tree?
So, let me begin by saying I never post or even go to /x/. I've only been here like 3 times in my 4 years of 4chan. Today, I saw something that I was confused about. I live in Upper Florida, so my backyard is lined with a forest. I was mowing my lawn, and when I turned to finish off the row that I was mowing, I saw it. It was white, and had a gold cap. I didn't see a face, not even eyes, but that's because it was less than 3 centimeters in length, maybe 3 in width. It had longer wings than I drew in the sketch, but it flew in circles, and it fluttered like a hummingbird. It also had what seemed to be like legs, but they were seamed together, like if someone had stitches. I watched it for around 1 minute, as it just flew around a tree that was nearby. But near the end, it flew near me and started in my general direction, and it just floated. After around 4 seconds, in a blink of an eye, it flew down towards the grass, beyond my sight. I still don't believe it was a fairy, and I'm pretty sure it was just an insect.
This one happened in January, right after New Year's. Be leaving Illinois for my home in Pa. Was there visiting kinfolk for the holidays. 15 to 16 hour drive, didn't leave till late, planned on stopping at a motel. About 7 hours in, the urge to sleep gets strong. Pull into a small roadside stop. Go to check in, realize I left my wallet in Illinois. Shit, fuck, damn it. Lady behind the counter says there's an old campground up the road. Says to be careful though, nobody goes up there, but she's heard stories. Ask her what kind of stories, local legends, you know. Mostly I think it's just meth heads. I agree, since I'm still in the Bible Belt at this point. Middle America has a bad meth issue. Take her instructions, find the campground. It was a pretty warm winter in the area, so there's only a little snow on the ground, so the going isn't too bad down the dirt road to get in. Find the check-in office. Lady wasn't kidding when she said the place didn't get much use. Building's windows are all either gone or boarded up. Decide to park behind it just in case cops. Already feeling sketched out by the situation, I decide to risk getting my concealed carry gun out of the spare tire area and load it, keep it gripped out under the back of the driver's seat, since I'm gonna sleep in the back seat. Put my mallite on the seat next to me, grab my blanket and pillow and lay across the back seat, facing the window that looks out into the woods. Leave the windows cracked so I don't die. Fall into fitful sleep, wake up maybe 2 hours later with a god-awful smell. Smells like a mix of roadkill, vomit, and dookies. Oh sweet Jesus, I'm gonna hurl. It's a big clearing and a pretty clear night, so I notice something standing at the far end of the campground. Think it's maybe a tweaker and the smell is coming from him, so grab the mallite and shine it out at this guy. Thing suddenly stands the rest of the way up. Probably 8 feet tall, it's too far out for me to make out any real details. Grab pistol and get ready as fuck. Can't shit my pants due to sheer ass-clenching terror. Thing makes this horrible half squeal half bark barfing noise that trundles off into a weird laugh, twitches around and then bounds into the woods. Fucking what the fuck was that fucking shit? Slowly reach for the door handle, right as I do, boom. There's a huge thud on my roof. Boom boom boom, barf k giggle noise. Oh sweet Lord Jesus, please don't let me die tonight. Open the door and rock it out, stumble, fall, roll over. Shin mallite at my car and aim the pistol. I can't see shit, Captain. MFW, nothing's on my roof at all. Suddenly the smell is right on top of me, worse than it had been before. Jump up, almost at urine mode engaged. Swing light and gun around, stop dead. Fucking thing is like 3 inches from me, leaned down. Ain't got no face. Just a big as ragged rip that might be a grin or a grimace. Makes that horrible gurgling barf bark laugh, and I probably shouted or tried to sound badass, but it probably came out pretty girly. Shut eyes tight, pull the trigger until the gun clicks empty. All I can smell is burnt powder. Slowly open my eyes. The thing is gone, there's a lot of spent shells on the ground. Also I peed myself a little. Don't even wait to see where it went, just hear angry screeching from the woods. Jump in my car and speed off, almost crash, hear that noise the whole way until I make it to the highway. Don't stop for anything until I hit the PA border, and only then to change out of piss-stained pants and get a candy bar. Never been so scared in my life, honestly thought I was gonna bite the big burrito.
I'll post mine. I was camping in the Rockies in mid-October a while back, and the first time I was actually scared out of my mind. Decide to go camp overnight. Drive up mountain. After setting up camp, I go exploring. Close to dusk when I left, now pretty dark. No flashlight cause clear night with moon. After a while I stop where I am and start to head back to camp cause getting hard to see in the thick trees. Suddenly complete silence. That silence that feels like the air is solid. No insects, no outdoor sounds, no leaves, nothing. Every hair on my body is standing up. Stop dead in tracks. Absolute quiet. Stuffy, suffocating quiet. I see the leaves rustle on the ground, but don't hear it. Suddenly I smell it. Like gallons of blood mixed with coins that have been in your hand for a long time. Taste it in my mouth, metallic rusty taste. It's so strong. My goosebumps have goosebumps, I'm as tense as I've ever been. Deep, instinctual fear, like nothing I've ever felt goes down my spine. Know something is watching me. Something big and powerful. Stay still for hours it seems like, all the while knowing it's sizing me up, knows I'm there. Take rifle off my back, I always have a gun with me when I'm outdoors. Have rifle low ready. Suddenly big snap behind me to the left. Fire twice at the spot where I heard it. Hear fucking angry growl in the trees about 35 yards away from me. Can tell whatever it is it's big. I know what bears and cougars sound like and the feel when they are hunting you. This is totally different. Fucking book it back to my camp where my truck is. Hear it following me. Run run run. I'm fucking dying, trying not to crash into anything in the dark. Luckily the moon's out. After running / stumbling for fucking ever I'm back at my truck. Leave tent and supplies, fuck em. Drive off the mountain that night. Go back the next afternoon. Tent is rags. Food / supplies have been ransacked. Latches are open on containers. It wasn't an animal that did that. It had hands.
Me and my bro Rashaun went Innawoods one time. Really shitty plan. Me and Rashaun load up on guns / necessary supplies. We are gonna do the /K Innawoods Stalker Challenge. Lived in Washington at the time, so there was a fucking shitin' of forest. We hop on Google Maps, satellite imaging, and immediately, about 3 miles into the woods near our town, a partially blurred, but blatantly rusted and overgrown, facility. Load ATVs onto truck, make sure we have enough food for a week, because we aren't pussies, and drive out. Rashaun is a wereabu, so he has a good of Mauser bolt action and a lugger his great-grandpa got off a dead SS officer. I'm a slaveabu so I have a nugget, and a hand nugget. Both of us have gas masks for no fucking reason. So we get to the edge of the woods, and being the paranoid fuckers we are, unload our gear, and hide the truck with branches so that it won't get stolen, towed etc. Hop on the ATVs and get going. Within the hour we have camp set up, and have broken out the pre-marinated shashlik and spits. I pluck out some stalker campfire guitar songs and we just chill. We decide it wouldn't be very stalkerish of us to chill in one spot. Eat the shashlik, put the rest of the food up high, load our weapons and begin exploring. We had some good fun. Looks to have been an old processing facility. Grain silos everywhere. Town has a major homeless issue so we decide to set up a position on top of the silo. Rashaun guards the ladder while I go up to look around, seeing as how I had the scope. Stay up there for 15 minutes. Catch a glimpse of something in the upper part of what was most likely the administration building. Looked like a chick with a beard. Chamber around and let Rashaun know, whispering into my walkie-talkie. Hear the stereotypical black guy laugh. Dude, we gotta go check that out. Sweet Lord Rashaun. Climb on down, and we both make sure our pistols are loaded. CQC is a bitch with long rifles. Since I have me a revolver, I have only 6 shots. Meanwhile our resident black wereabu is decked out with 12 rounds in a lugger. Feeling like real operators, kick down the door on the bottom floor of the admin building. Wasn't as smooth as you would think. Had to kick a good 6 times. Flashlights on. Probably asbestos in here, so I guess we need the masks after all. Sneaky breaky up the stairs. Fucking barricade at the top floor. Little hole in the barricade, reveals that there is no fucking door. And the thing I saw is in there. It had a really feminine face, minus the massive beard. Its hands were small, like a baby's, but the rest of it was built like a fucking gorilla with tits. It was eating out of a pile of rats. Pull the hammer back on my pistol, and Rashaun realizes something's up. Too bad the lugger is loud as fuck. He slash it immediately looks up from the rats, and rushes the barricade. Thank God it couldn't get through. Then it jumped out the fucking window. We hear a nice crunch. We fully expect it to rush up the stairs like something out of a horror movie. But it doesn't. We hear grunting getting farther and farther away. Decide now is the time for both of us to go up the ladder on the silo and look for it. Continue hit the limit. Mummified aborted fetus / miscarriage. We aren't pussies, and we are fully prepared to shoot the mutant female bodybuilder. Up on top of the silo, we look around again, surveying the rest of the complex when suddenly from behind me, bang. And a bolt being worked. Ask what the fuck happened. It was at our campsite. I missed it but I think it got the message. End of day 1. Day 2. We wake up, no sign of bitch Squatch. Still on edge about the whole situation. But we are stalkers now. No room for fear. We continue our exploration. This time with walkie-talkie and me on top of the silo watching Rashaun's back. He mostly just scouts the area while I watch the area above and behind him. He finds several points of interest and we arrange to check it out later. At the other end of the complex, see the vile she-gorilla hauling ass back into the area. Let Rashaun know, and he runs into a building. Radios me letting me know he is in a locker. For fuck's sake. The thing sniffs around, and begins digging with its baby hands. Pulls a fucking dog out of the ground and begins eating it. Almost vomit. Decide to try and kill the haram beast. Krakow. Peg it in the foot. Pinch myself for being a piece of shit and not putting distance or wind into the equation. It fucking howls and rushes the building where Rashaun is hiding. It's probably pissed now. Hold my breath. Thank the Lord when I see it break through the door on top of the building. Probably has a bad sense of direction. Get ready to take shot number 2. Krakow. This time hit it in the gut. More howling, except this time weaker. Jumps off the building and fucking spider crawls into the woods. Radio Rashaun to let him know it's gone. His voice is all shaky, and he says the thing sniffed the locker he was in for a moment and gave it a good punch. Next time we are going together. End of day 2. Day 3 begins, same as the last one. We don't feel comfortable on the ground anymore. Set up a rope ladder on top of one of the buildings and barricade the door. Move everything up there. Tent, food, and all. Decided yesterday we needed some extra firepower, so our friend Tim was going to come down with his AR and Glock. Dude was in Afghanistan for a grand total of 4 years. He knows his shit. Hear the sound of his fucking gator coming through the woods. He pulls up at base camp, and unloads his gear. We are delighted to learn it includes 100 homemade brownies, and a couple bottles of rum. At about 6 p.m. we see the thing doing its goddamn spider crawl back to the dog. It can't take a fucking hint, can it? But wait. Holy shit. It has bandages where I shot it. Its foot has a makeshift splint. And its gut is covered with a piece of leather that has been tied on it with primitive-looking fibers. Everybody takes aim this time. Tim slaps a suppressor on his AR and gets ready to fill it with lead. Unfortunately it seems to have smartened up. Hears his AR click and starts snarling, looking right at the people who have been ruining its dinner time for the past 2 days. Drags the dog into the administration building and I guess begins taunting us. Tim says, "Holy shit, y'all weren't kidding." We unanimously decide that sleeping in shifts is a good plan. Wake up and Tim is refilling the magazines he brought along. The building where it had the dog is now covered in fucking bullet holes, with a nice bit of blood in the area too. Before I can even ask, Tim says, it made a run for it. I think I hit it, maybe 12 times. Not so much as a peep out of it. Confused because I fucked it up last time. Ask him why he couldn't do shit to it. Well, for one, it came out covered in scrap steel. About 3 layers for each. I guess armor plate. It also used the dog as a meat shield. That's where the blood came from. Don't go near that shit. It's probably old and coagulated. I could smell it from here when it first came out. We begin to doubt that that's all that happened. No way all that blood came from one dog who was probably dead for weeks. Day 4 of our excursion was interesting to say the least. All quiet until once again, at 6 p.m., it came back. But this time it had a friend. Another one, pretty similar but this time blatantly male. This motherfucker wasn't built like a gorilla though. It was pretty small. Scrawny. Nice full beard though. We flip our shit and begin empty magazines downrange at M. Kill the smaller one, it begins convulsing and the other one drags it back into the woods. At this point we are fucking tired of this shit. Tim decides that we should trap the perimeter. Brought a bunch of percussion caps and black powder. Turns out he meant to bring his muzzle loader too but forgot it. But we can make some bottle mines though. What we did was fill plastic bottles with scrap metal and black powder, cut a tiny hole, big enough for a pin to go through, and secured a percussion cap underneath the pin. Buried about 14 of them around the facility perimeter. On day 6 of our little adventure, things turned into an all-out siege. It's a miracle that nobody heard the gunshots and called the police. Rashaun flips his lid and points to the tree lean. 5 of the things, including Sharam, are standing there with what looks like makeshift spears. Who did we have it at jethsmartones.jpg? They rush like a bunch of rednecks towards a free ammo stand. Laugh our fucking asses off when we hear 6 explosions. One fucker got launched by a mine and hit another one. We finally killed the vile female bodybuilder. Our victory was short-lived however. 10 more came out and collected the bodies. At this point we are certain that we are fucked. Not just by the authorities for when some hiker steps on a mine, but because there are way more than we thought. At this point we start to think we have picked a fight with a clan of inbreeding hillbillies. Send a few of our friends a map of where we placed the mines and ask for backup. 2 show up. Dennis, the resident edgelord/crusader wannabe, shows up in some medieval armor he bought off eBay for $2,000 and a cold steel cringe sword. Johnny, who's an even bigger slavaba than me, shows up with an SKS and a Makarov. Dude even wears an Ushanksa. Proud.png. Begin fortifying our roof. We made a quick run, grabbed some burlap sacks, filled them with dirt, and even ended up making a makeshift cannon out of an old pipe. We ended up loading it with silverware and marbles. We replenished our mines, with about 20 more around the perimeter, and I set up a sniper position on the now famous silo. Once again, at 6 p.m., they show up. Our suspicions that they are a hillbilly clan is almost confirmed when one shows up with a double-barreled shotgun. Of course he is the biggest threat, so I elect to try and kill him first. Finally get that shot I have been looking for. Get him square in the center of mass and watch him fall over. Proud of Mijlf Butel saw going to hell.png. Of course they rush. Not learning from last time, 11 or 12 of the 20 blow themselves up on our mines. Johnny stands above the sandbags, raises his SKS above his head and lets out a mighty, Anu cheeky breeky 4 damk. This invigorates our will to fight even further and we fire off the cannon. 2 limp off into the woods with forks and marbles in them, and 1 is blatantly killed, as the brunt of the shot hits him. 110 rounds later the battle is over. We gather up the bodies, burn them, and, hopefully, gathered up all the mines and dismantled them. I think the cannon is still at Tim's house somewhere. We all make it back to our rides and GTFO. I lay awake at night hoping we didn't commit mass murder. And that the 2 that got away with forks in their ass don't show up at my house with the cops. Camping and hiking around Mille Lacs for 3 days with 2 buddies of mine. It's the end of summer and starting to cool down, so there are no mosquitoes around, and it gets chilly enough at night to warrant heavy clothing. Pretty uneventful and normal camp for the first day and a half aside from being attacked by a little barn owl. Halfway through the second day we're hiking balls deep into some little trails, what must be game trails. Come across a clearing. Knee-high grass, maybe a square mile of it surrounded by thick pine trees and undergrowth. Would have been completely surreal if it weren't for the grass being loaded with ticks. Randomly see something emerge from the tree line. Everyone does a double take. It's a white-tailed deer walking on its hind legs. We all burst out laughing because this thing just looks retarded. It's not unusual for deer to buck up on their hind legs and take a few steps. But this thing was walking on its hind legs, front legs are folded up close to its body almost like a T-Rex, and its head is back with mouth agape, tongue flailing. We bust a gut laughing for a good 5 minutes, till we see another deer do the exact same thing. At this point we can barely breathe because it appears that all deer in this particular part of Minnesota are violently retarded. The two deer amble their way on over to each other and stand at what would be face to face if it weren't for the fact that they were looking straight up into the sky. This is apparently the funniest thing any of us has ever seen. Exhaustion probably played a big part into why we found it so funny. We stand around watching these two deer to see just how much entertainment they'll provide, but after maybe 30 seconds of face to face they fall down to all fours and walk away in different directions like normal deer. We wipe the tears from our eyes and make way back to our camp after eating lunch in the clearing. Get back to our camp in around 4 p.m. and start gathering enough wood to cook food and keep the fire going into the night. Pass around a bottle of Canadian Club and recant the time we encountered two retarded deer. It's a fond memory. Hit the hay and sleep sound through the night. Wake up to find that friend number one has been up for hours. Has a pretty odd look on his face. The first words out of his mouth were, "A deer pooped a human poop on my stuff." Lolwood. Says he heard rustling leaves/twigs that sounded like more than just a breeze, so he opened his tent to check. Says he saw a whitetail rooting around the camp, and it took a shit on his backpack. But it wasn't normal deer pellets, it was a big log of shit. Bust out laughing at his very somber retelling of events, because LOL his stuff got pooped on. Joke all day about our buddy Poop Pack and the retarded deer getting their revenge. We all move on with our lives and backtrack to our first campsite where we'll be staying the night before we leave in the morning. The third night friends number one and number two are awoken before sunup by something rustling around the camp. Their whispering back and forth wakes me up. I open my tent and peek my head out to see what's up. See a buck and a doe meandering about maybe 10 yards away from us. Contemplate shouting to scare them off, but don't want to risk pissing off a buck while I'm laying down in a compromising position. All we glance at each other and just observe the curious mammals as they go about their business. One smells around the campfire a bit, finds our bottle of Canadian Club. It rears up on its hind legs. It shits in the general area of the bottle. F.U. The buck also stands upright, hops around in a circle, sprays piss fucking everywhere, tongue flapping in the wind. Can't hold back my laughter at the sight. The deer get spooked and run off while still standing up. Laugh at the humorous yet odd sight and tell friend number one that he's going to clean the shit off the whiskey when the sun comes up. Tells me to fuck myself. I crawl back in my tent and sleep for a few more hours. We all get up about the same time and stumble out of the tents to examine the extent of the damage. Once again the scat left by the deer is absolutely nothing like deer droppings. It's a big gnarly human-like shit. Can't do anything but laugh at the whole situation. Fucking weird deer around these parts. Can't help but wonder what the fuck was going on there. Just weird animals, or something else. Skinwalkers playing at being deer and playing a prank on some humans? Scouts honor it really happened. Took a bunch of pics while Innawoods that day planning to make a/k/thread about it later that night, ended up with a really fucked up story instead.
Forest ranger for a large amount of dense wooded forest just north of the US border. 1200. Just signed on to shift. Get a call on the radio for a 10 to 49, missing person, in my area, last seen wearing a sweatshirt, hiking shorts, and a red backpack. Missing for 2 days now, and was just reported. Mount up, fuel up, and head out into the area he was last known to be in. Cruising for about an hour and a half, decided would be a good idea to start out on foot, as he won't be on any service roads. Notify dispatch to send an additional unit. Wait for a half hour until backup arrives, he's a good guy I enjoy working with. We head up onto a trail that's known for people getting lost, as halfway up it splits and goes further into the woods instead of curving around and heading back out towards the service area. Hiking for an hour, calling out the person's name, keeping an eye out for clues, etc. I wind around a bend and find the remnants of a campsite. Shout out for my partner and the missing gentleman. Partner doesn't come around the corner. Jiv. Go back around the corner, partner isn't there. Come up on the radio. Anonymous. Anon, come in. Officer Anon, are you code 4? Nothing. Well fuck. Inspect the campsite, it's fairly recent, about a week, but no new footprints or indents in the mud surrounding the fire pit, except animals. Decide to wait for partner, he may have gotten lost. Try the radio again. Officer Anonymous, this is Anonymous, come in. Are you code 4? Looking around in the trees, listening for any sounds out of the ordinary. Wait for 45 minutes for partner, while walking in a little circle around the campsite. Partner doesn't show up, now I'm a little worried. Go back around the bend in the trail, past the little rock outcropping. Head back the way we came and am looking for any sign of him. As I come up onto a hill, I hear footsteps up ahead of me, boots on the rocky path. Come up on the radio again. Officer Anon, are you code 4? Still nothing on the radio. Dart up ahead to get a good look at whoever is on the trail. Spot a red backpack on the guy. He seems to be walking a little funny, no swing of his arms. Walking almost like a robot. Excuse me, sir. What's your name? I'm 20 feet behind him by this point. Sir. He's still walking like a robot. Hey. He stops, and turns around lighting fast. Are you Herb son McDerp son? He just stares at me. Are you Herb son McDerp, sir? He still doesn't speak, but nods his head. We've been looking for you, let's head back to the trailhead. After about 40 minutes we reach the trailhead, and my partner's vehicles are still there. Now, I'm going to put you in the back of my truck, you're not under arrest, just so you can relax and catch your breath. Try the radio again. Anon, are you out there, Anon? The radio crackles to life. This is Officer Anon, yeah, I'm okay. Found the missing person. He's got a broken leg after falling off a small cliff. I've patched him up and we're on our way back to the trailhead. Sorry for not responding, as out of range. Got separated at one of the trail forks. What? Avi? Anon, I've got the missing hiker, he's in the back of my truck right now. Silence for 2 minutes. Anon, lock your truck and grab the 12 gauge from my Jeep. Why? Just do it, and don't let it out of your sight. Okay. Avi. Unlock his Jeep, grab the 12 gauge and inspect it to see if there's a round in the chamber. Calmly walk over to my truck and peek in the window. Nobody in my truck, and the cage was bent to a severe angle, with my driver's side door open. Be me. Be 14. Be living in rural Appalachia in super low income area. Have medium-sized farm and have to go to Florida most summers to help on family farm down there as well. This summer was the same as usual, shitty farm work in the Florida sun. One day older sis says, hey shithead, let's go fishing in the old mines. Think nothing of this because usual horse trails and such. Agree. While hiking out into the swamp keep getting glimpses at this field that just seems wrong. Set up at some old mine holes filled with water and start fishing. Need to piss. Go piss. See field again in the distance. Say fuck it. Mistake.jpg. Walk towards field and pass through a bush into this place which absolutely did not belong. From wet marshy ground to solid dirt and alfalfa grass. Hot summer sun seems distant to this cool and comfortable breeze. Wander around thinking this has never been here or I would have seen it while riding. See the spot that would become the home of my recurring nightmares. Small wood log fence surrounding a worn down shed. No door but you couldn't see inside. The dirt on the other side of the fence was beat down and dry, like it was trampled by rowdy horses all day and night for years. Be a retard and think I need to explore the shed. Approach and start to climb the fence. Literally shit myself when I feel an hand that was wrong on my shoulder and a very not human voice say, "Do not enter there. That is not a place for you." Freaking the fuck out because what the fuck is touching me and how the fuck did it sneak up to me in the open field? Immediately stop and get off the fence. Turn towards it and start to freak out. Look at what appears to be a nearly 10 feet human with all the wrong features. Triangular crown-like head with two wide oval-shaped eyes that looked like a picture of the stars with tiny greenish retina. Has small ill-proportioned slits in what appears to be a nasal bridge and a wide mouth with almost flap lips interlocked over it. Thing opens its mouth a little and says, "Go now and return to where you are supposed to be." Its long lanky arm pulls away from my shoulder and points back along the path of grass I stepped on to get here. Its hand is wrong, like it has 4 digits, 2 pointed of the forward section like our pointer and index, but with 2 long thumbs posted opposite each other. Immediately start running to the woods at the edge. Look back as I'm halfway there and it's gone. The fields wavering like a mirage. As soon as my foot lands in the muck of the swamp, get blasted by the musty heat of the swampland again. Turn around and it's gone. There's no field and I seemingly just came out of the marshy edge of a pool of swamp water. Hear sister calling for me and she sounds really upset. Holler back that I'm right here just taking a leak. Make my way back and she says it's been at least an hour since I left. Where the hell have I been? Tell her about the field and the thing saw. She said in the most serious tone I've ever heard from her, "Never speak about the elf again, it's going to follow you now." Sister was a douche, so I thought she was fucking with me. Go home and ask my mom about the field and such when we go in through my grandparents' mud room. The reply I got from her and my gram set this into an actual nightmare ever since. You never ever should cross the line to their homes ever again. They aren't nice enough to let you go twice. Now you'll see them and they will see you. Actually cry because I'm fucking shocked and my mom tells me to go play the GameCube in the living room. Dad picks me up and we drive home.
ITT crazy shit that happened to you. Be me few years ago. Friend has family in Eastern Europe that he's going to visit for like 4 months, asks if I want to come. After much think I decide yes. Very long flight later we arrive at his aunt and uncle's place. Turns out they are super rich, own a shit ton of land in a resort. The resort is where we are staying. It's really weird, it's got a theme to it, the theme being Northwest USA like Montana, Idaho, etc. Whatever seems comfy enough. We do some hiking around. There was this big rolling river that was really close to the resort building. Me and Buddy end up hiking it a lot, kinda becomes a weekly thing. After like 2 months a really big rich faggot kid starts staying at the resort. His family is super rich and powerful and he makes sure everyone knows he was totally out of control. Friend's aunt and uncle just wanted to get rid of him. Me and friend are hiking one day, see out of control rich faggot on the top of this hill that overlooks the river. Pretty tall and steep hill, really hard to climb and covered in rocks. The faggot is on his phone yelling and stomping around like a little child. Me and friend are laughing and decide to watch and see what happens. He keeps stomping and ends up losing his footing and falling down the hill and falling into the river. Fug me and my friend book it back to resort. After a few hours he ends up at the resort via floating down the river. He's dead. Friend's aunt and uncle are freaking out, turns out faggot's dad was a politician. Aunt and uncle are worried they will get killed or imprisoned, cops even tell them to beware. They decided to flee to different Eastern European state. Ended up leaving the resort to be run by my friend. He temporarily closes the resort and makes it private. MFW, you're living in your own private Idaho. You're out of control, the rivers that roll. You fell into the water and down to Idaho. Get out of that state. Get out of the state you're in. You better beware.